What's going on, guys, and welcome to another Doctor Who review. Today we're going to be reviewing the 10th Doctor David Tennant story, Gridlock. It's Series 3, Episode 3. We've gone to the past, we're now going to the future, New York once again. And yeah, it is an episode that I've always quite enjoyed. It's one that I think is maybe a little bit underrated, perhaps. I mean, it's not the most, crazy, amazing story in the world, but I think as a filler story goes, it is one of the better ones. So I was interested to see how I would feel about it, properly looking at it with, like analytically, with it, thinking about it with a review, really, looking into it. So anyway, let's get started with the cast. David Tennant as the 10th Doctor. He's awesome in this one. Not a lot of stuff with Martha here, apart from right at the beginning and really right at the end. Most of this episode, our two main characters are split up, which I think is a really interesting thing when that happens. The Doctor is mostly kind of going from car to car, talking and seeing all these other random people, aliens, and interacting with a lot of different people in this episode. And I think on the whole, he's very good. He's funny, he has some great moments, and yeah, all good stuff from David Tennant here. Freema Agyeman as Martha Jones, also really good in this episode. She is with her two kidnappers for the majority of this episode, and although the relationship between them obviously starts out pretty frosty, they actually become friends with each other, to quite like each other towards the end. And yeah, chemistry-wise, they all get along very well. They're all pretty good actors as well, and Freema does a great job there. Right, so on to some points about this story. People are selling moods in New York. So yeah, the Doctor and Martha arrive, and they see all these stores of people literally selling moods. Like, they're not all, they say they're moods, they're not all really moods. I mean, like, forgetting isn't a mood, but they call them moods because there's also like happy, sad, they're moods, and also just general, like, I don't even know what you'd call it, like forget. It's not a mood, but stuff like that. And it's a really weird concept that, this city, there's some weird stuff going on here that people just have to literally buy these weird moods and feelings, because they want to, forget what's happened, something really bad that's happened, or they want to feel happy, but they physically can't feel happy, so they've got to take one of these patch things to force themselves to feel happy. It's a really weird concept, and it is a little bit away from the rest of the plot of this story. It's a fairly small plot point in this story, but it still does have a purpose, and I find it quite interesting. Martha is kidnapped. So the premise of the story is that there's all these people under the ground in New York on this highway system, flying these, they're like flying cars, and it's this really big highway that is just constantly backed up all the time. If you have 3 people or more in your car, then you can go down to like the bottom to the fast lane and get through quicker. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in this traffic jam for literally years. So these 2 people come along, they find Martha, they kidnap her to get her into their car so that they can then go down into the fast lane. So she gets kidnapped, and then the Doctor, for the rest of the story, is trying to get into a car that can also go down to the fast lane to, go back after her. So I can't remember the kidnappers' names, but yeah, they're well acted. They're interesting enough characters, and yeah, like I said before, they kind of get to know Martha, and it starts off very hostile, but towards the end, they seem to be quite good friends with each other. Once kind of she figures out what's going on, and they're not really there. They're not here to harm her, but then she figures out that it's going to be years until she can see the Doctor again, because they're like, we'll drop you off at the next lay-by, but it's going to be years away. So yeah, it's this kind of dilemma of these people, they've kidnapped her. They're not necessarily bad people, but at the same time, this is some serious stuff going on here. Everyone on the road singing together. This is a lovely part of this story where, is it Cali Calypso or something? The kind of computer, the kind of news channel thing that comes onto the screens. She starts saying, everybody sing, we're all part of this together. And they all start singing. Everybody in all the cars start singing this beautiful song. And it kind of brings everyone together, although they never really see any other people. They're just always cooped up inside these cars. But at the same time, they're all together, technically, for for years and years on end. So the fact that they come together and all sing together and kind of pray, it's a really touching moment. The Doctor jumping from car to car. I love this moment in the episode, the kind of montage where he's just jumping from car to car. He starts off in the car with Brannigan, the kind of cat person who is great character. Love the actor as well. Yeah, he stays in there for a while. And when they're like, we're not going down to the fast lane, he's like, right, well, I'm going to try and make my way down to the fast lane. And he just kind of starts jumping between cars, going down layer by layer, and the different races, aliens, different people that he sees on the way is hilarious. When he goes down, he picks up like the kind of bandana thing from those two like Asian girls. He just takes that. That's a really funny moment. All the people there's like two naked people that he just sees, like, oops, sorry, just passing through. It's just a really funny little montage. Macra are at the bottom of the highway. So this is a returning monster episode. Although we don't get to see a whole lot of the monster in this episode, the Macra are they are the villain of this story. They are right at the bottom of this highway. People go missing when they go to the bottom of this highway, and that is why, because there's Macra down there and they basically kill people. And it's a pretty interesting thing. The Macra are a returning villain from the classic series. Of course, they were in the second Doctor story, the Macra Terror, which before seeing this story I hadn't seen. I've only seen it in the last couple of years. It's a pretty good story. It's not one of the best in the world, but I think I gave it like an 8 out of 10. It is a pretty good story. The Macra, a little bit different here than what they are there. I'm pretty sure in that story they could like talk, and you saw them right up in front of, they were like there in front of people, whereas here they're very much below people and you don't get a proper look at them, really. And how they got there, I don't know. I don't think that's really explained. But it's an interesting villain to bring back, and it's done very differently to how it was when they were first in the series, so I've got to commend them for that. A virus wiped out the city and trapped everyone else on the motorway. So we figure out through Novice, is it Novice Haim, the cat lady? She finds the Doctor. She's from New Earth, the first episode of Series 2. She's trying to find the Doctor and finds him and tells him, look, the whole city's been wiped out by this virus because, of course, the Doctor previously, when he was in New Earth, because this is set after New Earth, he kind of shut down the whole cat nun hospital thing, and basically she's like, look, because of that, we didn't have the protection from the viruses anymore, and this one virus came along and killed everybody basically, and they trapped everybody that was underground on the motorway. They trapped them underground to save them, but didn't actually tell them what had happened above. So it's actually a really dark thing, and it's like, whoa, there's some hard-hitting stuff here. And although it's like the city has literally trapped these people underground, they've kind of also saved these people. So it's like this moral thing of, well, it's not really right that they've trapped them underground, but at the same time, they have saved them from this virus. And basically they were like, after a certain amount of time, the virus will no longer be airborne and we can let the people back out again. And yeah, that's basically what she wants the Doctor to do here. And turns out the Face of Bo, which we'll get to in a moment, is also part of this. And it's a really interesting revelation. The Face of Bo gave his life to save everyone. So it turns out that it was actually the Face of Bo who shut the doors and trapped everyone below to save them from this virus. He gave up his life, all his power to do that. He's literally on his last legs now. And it's a really touching moment. The Face of Bo tells the Doctor, you are not alone. The first big hint at the kind of arc for this series and the finale, of course, spoiler alert, with the Master. The You Are Not Alone from the Face of Bo. It's an iconic moment, of course, in the series. A big moment. The Doctor's face when he says it. It's just, it's such a good moment. The Doctor telling Martha about Gallifrey. And this is a great way to end this episode. Throughout, I don't think it's throughout this series, I think it's just throughout this episode mainly, Martha's asking the Doctor about, oh, you know, where did you come from? And he's like, anyway, I don't want to talk about that because of course Gallifrey's gone, and he just doesn't want to be reminded of that. But I guess after this whole thing of everything that's gone on here in this episode, and also with the whole "you are not alone" thing, he kind of explains the whole, you know, there used to be all these other people, all these other Time Lords, but I'm the last one left now. The face about, he's obviously lying, or he's not correct. I am the only one left is what he believes. And then he starts talking to Martha about Gallifrey and just the way he describes it. And it's the first time we properly get Gallifrey described to us in the new series. It's just such a great moment with the singing of the people in the background as well. It is such a good moment, panning up over the city, seeing the cars out and about in the city. It's such a great end. And that is it. That is all the points I have for Gridlock, an episode that, once again, I really enjoyed. It's a fairly basic plot. It doesn't have a whole lot going on in it, to be honest, apart from at the end with the whole revelations of all that sort of stuff with the face of Bo and stuff. But other than that, it is very much a filler episode, but it's a good filler episode. It's definitely a good filler episode, in my opinion. I'm going to give Gridlock a 7.5 out of 10. I was debating maybe an 8. I think in the past I have given this an 8. I have kind of revamped my my grading a little bit. So I'm going down to a 7.5. I am now somewhat, you know, I think a lot of stories will still be like 7 out of 10, but a kind of bang average story is going to be more like a 5 out of 10 now. But this, I think, is a better than average story. You know, an average story in Doctor Who for me isn't, you know, most things are going to be better than average. That's how at least I see things. But a 7.5 out of 10, this is a good story. It's one that you can just kind of chuck on and watch. And yeah, I do quite enjoy it. 7.5 out of 10 for Gridlock. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.